questions or your comments. Could you please repeat after me? Please, God, let us put aside everything we think we know about ourselves, our disease, this process, and you, God, for an open mind and a new experience. Amen.
Morning, everybody. My name is Ralph White. I am an alcoholic. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers who are celebrating Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Anybody who's here with us for the first time, you are here, first or second time, you are here at our very closing meeting of this latest session of the Big Book Workshop. We are going to finish step 12 today. We will be off next week, and the following week, which is the 26th, you can invite everybody. We'll be starting over from the beginning of the book on the 26th. We'll be starting over again. If you're celebrating a birthday, please be sure to put that in the chat. Remember, we only recognize yearly milestones. So put your name and the number of years that you're celebrating in the chat, and we'll be glad to celebrate your birthday with you at the end of the meeting. We got a couple of items. Again, I always announce at the beginning so we'll know. Let's keep Kim in mind. Kim lost her mom last week. Teresa lost her uncle last week. Nora lost his brother a couple of weeks ago. At the end of the meeting, we'll hear from Nora and anybody else who wants to be, but we'll hear from Nora at the end of the meeting. And right now, we are in the chapter Working with Others, page 101. That's chapter 7. And Ryan, is it our rule? So our rule is?
Yeah, that's what I've got.
Reader, next to the last paragraph on page 101, so our rule is.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Miriam, alcoholic. So our rule is not to avoid a place where there is drinking if we have a legitimate reason for being there. That includes bars, nightclubs, dances, receptions, weddings, even plain ordinary whoopee parties. To a person who has had experience with an alcoholic, this may seem like tempting providence, but it isn't.
Let's do the companion paragraph with that.
You will note that we made an important qualification. Therefore, ask yourself on each occasion, have I any good social, business, or personal reason for going to this place? Or am I expecting to steal a little vicarious pleasure from the atmosphere of such places? If you answered these questions satisfactorily, you need have no apprehension. Go or stay away, whichever seems best. But be sure you are on solid spiritual ground before you start, and that your motive in going is thoroughly good. Do not think of what you will get out of the occasion. Think of what you can bring to it. But if you are shaky, you had better work with another alcoholic instead.
Ronald White, alcoholic. So putting us right where we're at in the book right now, as we're addressing and ending our portion, we started talking last week about if we're working with the prospect, start kind of explaining to him that the life of a sober alcoholic is not one of just being sheltered, or one just where we have to avoid people who are drinking, places where there's drinking, or anything like that. That this new life we're going to be leading is not going to be dark. It's not going to be glum. And so we started last week talking about, all sorts of things that we can do if we're spiritually fit. It talked about people have said we can't go to clubs, we can't do that. So we talked about all that last week. We said we meet the conditions every day when we're sober, when we're spiritually fit. We meet the conditions every day. Because if you're not spiritually fit, it don't matter where you go. You're the slippery place, Ronald. It don't matter if you try to shield yourself, if you try to do whatever. You are going to slip because you are not spiritually fit. So we pick up. In the last paragraph, we said that any scheme of combating alcoholism based on shielding the alcoholic from temptation ain't going to ever work. In fact, it's only going to end up in a bigger explosion ever. And so it segues right into what we are talking about now, talking about the rule. Don't avoid places where people are drinking. If we have, then the squiggly right, because that's the most important word, right? If I have a legitimate reason for being there, right? And that includes, I like the whoopee parties. Yeah, y'all can just put your imagination to what a whoopee party is, right? But they name all the places I can go if I have a legitimate reason. And so what's the definition of a legitimate reason? Have I any good personal, business, right, or social reason? My daughter's getting married. You know people are going to be toasting, doing champagne toast. You're there for the wedding, right? Not for the drinking of the champagne. Go. But it also said, and there are all kinds of other occasions, obviously, going out for business, going out for other things, where other people are going to be drinking. But go if I am comfortable going. Because they say, if you're shaky, Ronald, stay away. Make your apologies, do whatever, Mr. White, but don't go if you're shaky. Better try to work with another alcoholic so that I can become spiritually fit.
Ronald?
My name is Ronald. I'm an addict. And I really like this part of the book in the paragraph when he talks about this, because I had a real personal experience with this. And what I found out is that I'm the one that tries to do the vicarious enjoying and going places where I know I shouldn't be. And that don't have to have anything to do with drugs or alcohol. I just want to feel normal, like ain't nothing wrong with me, and I can do things that other people can do. I'm okay now because I have a little time between me since my last hit. But what happened was I went into a party and I met an old friend, and me and her connected in a way that seemed like it would be okay. Me knowing I have a girlfriend and everybody and another life at home, still pursue this thing. And what ended up happening was it all crumbled down, and my girlfriend at home found out about it. And my life got miserable after that. Arguing, fussing, alienation, everything started happening. When this started happening, that's when I started seeing that I was heading back to the pipe. And I hadn't paid that any attention prior to having been through this process, that I take a hit long before I take a hit. My first hit in this situation was when I started trying to think that I could actually get away with doing something I knew I shouldn't be doing at this party. I know I can't drink, but it never said I couldn't flirt or hang out with other women, or, but I know I can't do shit like that because of who I am and where I come from. Because now I know who I am. I didn't know who I was. And due to this process, I had to look at all these areas of my life. Going to the casino and gambling. I don't got $4,000 to blow, even if I do have it and it ain't money. I don't have damn luxuries in life where I can just do what I think I want to do or take risks that I know that are unnecessary. Driving the car, same thing. I can't speed down the street knowing that if I get this ticket or this wreck, I'm going to be in a financial rut that's going to cause me to live miserable, and I'm going to want to drink. So I have to take a look at all these areas of my life to make decisions on things that I can and can't do. And so being in this vicarious state mind where I can just enjoy life any way I want. I can't. I have to remember that I'm an alcoholic, I'm an addict. And I make choices based on how I feel that leads me back to hitting the pipe. And it's not just the pipe that I want. It's I just want to be happy, and I have to watch it. I have to be very careful of the things that I do. If they're going to cause problems later, I better know. Thanks for letting me share.
Cindy Ann?
Good morning, all. So I love this because, a legitimate reason for someone, there's a lot of different reasons. You might pick something different than I picked, but one of the reasons, a legitimate reason for us, there was a small group of us, and whenever someone celebrated, we went out to a club. We were there for dancing and good times. People were drinking around us, but if I'm spiritually fit, I should be able to go into those places and not be part of some of it, right? The drinking, but be part of the having fun and dancing. And I did catering for 15 years, and part of that job was to pour alcohol, mix alcohol. And the thing was, I was there to do a job and to make money. I was not there to drink, so I could serve the people that were at the party without a thought of, oh, maybe I should drink. Why? Right? If I'm there for the right reasons and I feel comfortable, everybody I worked with knew I was an alcoholic. Not that, they're going to save me if I want to drink, but for me, it wasn't a challenge because that's not why I was there. So I did have a legitimate reason to work, but not to drink. Thanks.
And no more hands after Stephen. No more hands. Ronnie?
Thanks, Ronnie, alcoholic, among other things, including crack addiction, which is what brought me into recovery a little over 31 years ago. I kind of hooked on to the idea that higher power was going to make the difference for me. Didn't trust people, didn't trust myself. And so a higher power made real good sense, even though I'd never had a relationship with them that I was aware of. But anyways, through seeking out a higher power, asking for help in the morning and that, one of the things that struck me very early in recovery was I had had a good conversation with my dealer about, the fact that he had actually quit one time for a few months. And I asked him why he went back. He said he didn't trust people. So when this thought came up, I knew that he trusted me. I figured I'll go back and see him. And so I went back into the, I don't know what you call it, back to the bar that he used to, do his business out of. And he wasn't there when I got there, but I prayed in advance. I felt good about myself, and and I was really excited about this new life that I had. So I came across another guy who I thought was a friend, and he ended up shoving a flap in my face. And my reaction was, well, okay, I get the message. We'll see you later. And then I went and talked with another guy, and he showed some interest in getting sober himself. And so that was a nice little conversation. Eventually I talked to the dealer. He wasn't interested, and I left. And it ended up being a good thing. But the other instance I'd like to talk about was being in Vegas playing in a pool tournament. And there's a number of friends, including a fellow that was from my hometown and opened up a room down there, a pool room down there. We went back to his place. Everybody else was drinking. Now, I could have chosen not to, but I was totally fine with where I was at. And I thought, maybe people need to see how a person can have a good time without having to get drunk. And so that's what I did. And I ended up going to the bathroom at one point, setting my Coke on the counter. When I came out of the bathroom, somebody had switched drinks on me. Turns out some people don't like you when you get sober, is the impression that I got. Anyways, I took a big swig, and then I realized, this is rum. I put it down, went back in the bathroom. I had some still in my mouth. I spit it out, said a little prayer, and I just said, I'm going back out there. God, help me to, keep it together. This isn't a big deal. And went out and enjoyed myself. Never mentioned anything to
Thank you, Ronnie.
anybody about what had happened. Yep, thanks.
Leslie?
Oh, hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. This is Leslie. I'm an alcoholic. I'm at the gym, so I didn't want to, you wouldn't recognize me without makeup on the camera, without my video. I'm sorry. I just wanted to share when I was first trying to get sober, I was in and out, because I love clubs, I love dancing, I love music. And I just would go there trying to get some of that vicarious, energy out of it, and I would end up slipping. And then from doing the steps, I got this freedom from having to have a neutrality with alcohol, right? But I still love dancing and music, still loved it. And I used to think, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to do that again. So here in Barcelona, our clubs are open. They open up at 1 a.m. They're open till 5. And so I was not going to let that stop me. And my daughter, when she'd be at her dad's for the weekend, we had this horrible separation. I thought, oh, I'm never going to have fun again. Oh, it's been so bad. So I'm out dancing. I went to these clubs because I love dancing. That was my reason. It was not to get any vicarious whatever off of anything. And I would go in there and I would dance, and I'd leave at like 4 a.m, go home, have a sandwich, go to sleep. You know what I mean? But there was one time I was dancing, and there's all these people, and they opened up the stage up above, and some people went up there, and I went up there, and I'm dancing, and looking down at like thousands and thousands of people, like so many people, and it was this immense feeling of freedom and joy and happiness, doing what I love, sober, and knowing I was just okay, thanks to doing the steps, thanks to the higher power of my life, I'm able to do these things, and just, great. Of course I don't go do that if I'm a Rocky Brown, but, so I should be with Ronald White at Soul Train. But anyway, thanks for letting me share.
Victor?
My name is Victor. I'm an alcoholic addict. And for me, I'm gonna say that I'm saying this. Ain't nothing wrong with gambling. And by the time you get this part in the book, we up under new laws. It's the principles behind the steps. And I go to the casino maybe like once out of a week, or sometimes even twice. But as long as my motives is right, I can do that. I go there with a plan, and because that's a business, and so I go and do what I got to do and get the hell up out of there. And ain't nothing wrong with the casino. I may go tonight. It's Mother's Day. They may give mothers the money. I'm going to dress like a mother. I'm just kidding. But anyway, by this time in the 12th step, it's some new laws, and the new laws is the principles. And if you work them principles behind the steps, you can go anywhere a free man can go. You know what I mean? And that's bottom line. And let's get finished. Please stop raising hands. I'm going to stop raising mine too.
Stephen?
Morning, everybody. It's Stephen, alcoholic. Well, somebody mentioned that position of neutrality, which is one of the many promises and gifts that we get, and then naturally we hear the old "to thine own self be true" line, and only I know what's going on deep down in my heart and my stomach, spiritually fit is my spirit, is me deep down inside. That, spiritually fit is not only referring to God all the time, it's talking about my spirit. It's talking about me, Steve. How's Steve doing? And these are things that I need to keep track of, And, you know, we all have our reasons yes and reasons no, and so on and so forth. But the real big reason is, or the real big, I don't know if it's a reason. The real big deal is do I know what's going on deep down inside? Do I have somebody, you know, that could pull my chain if I'm not letting them know what's going on, and hey, maybe we need to look at this again, or maybe you want to wait a little while or take a look at that or whatever. But that's the big deal, is for me to always, you know, that spiritual, I think that spiritually fit part should be italicized too. So anyway, thank you. God bless.
So Ronald started us off, and he talked about going out, and of course then Victor took it personal when Ronald talked about his deal about not going out gambling, not going out hitting on this girl at a party. And so when we read everything put together, that's a mark, that's showing my spiritual condition. When I'm going out to a spot and I got somebody and I'm hitting on somebody, okay, right there, that's a defect flaring up. When I'm showing up, me, not Victor, not anybody else, but if I've admitted that gambling is a problem for me and now I go sit up, that's a mark that I'm not spiritually fit, because I'm operating out of defects of character right then. So now that when we read all this put together, and the reason I'm bringing this up is we got a bunch of people on here and we talking to certain constituencies at the same time. We're talking to a bunch of you guys that have gone through all of these 11 steps leading up to the 12th step, that are practicing principles in all our affairs, that have done inventory, that have looked at our defects, that have started doing amends. And so now we know we've got a spiritual condition that we maintain. Then we got we got the back house, we got God's property, we got AARS, we got a bunch of people on the front end of this, and they're listening to the people on the back end of this. And the reason we're talking to you, the people on the front end of recovery, is this is almost like one of the chapters we're not going to read, but it's almost like a vision for you. You toe up. Life is really, you know, I'm coming in, I'm sitting in a treatment facility. Life really looks bad for me. I've blown my shot. I'm not going to ever be able to do. So what is this sober life going to look like for me? Why am I signing up for it? Is it going to be square and dull? Well, what we can share with you guys is what we've been reading these last few weeks. It's not to go out and leave where you are right now and start putting this in place, but it is a vision for what recovery looks like. And a lot of us can say it's what it looks like for real. I've been going to clubs for many years. You know, I've been going to places, I've gone out, you know, when I was still in the workplace, went out with co-workers for years, were places where people were drinking. Why? Because I had a legitimate reason for being there. That's the rule. And especially for people that's new, one of the things I want to do is get a spiritual condition so that I can be spiritually fit. What I realized early, I'm not there. So we take these other things, but when we get there, when I get spiritually fit, guess what? There are some things that are going to guide me. I don't have to guess. I don't have to go by the seat of my pants. What does spiritually fit look like? Well, first, being spiritually fit means I'm going to be honest with myself about, do I have a legitimate reason? I'm not going to say, oh, well, I might see her. No, do I have a legitimate reason for being there? And if I do, I can go both places. I've not yet found a legitimate reason for me to be in a dope house. I've not found a legitimate reason for me to be sitting up in there showing people that, oh, a sober person can sit. No, I've not found a legitimate reason. But I've been in a lot of other places, And here's so how and what is the legitimate reason? Ralph, how do I know that? Well, like Ronnie said, do I have a good business, personal, or social reason for being there? A lot of people in the workplace. Somebody was sharing, Ronnie, I think, was sharing, well, I might be shaking. Well, some people, believe it or not, I don't know if Lamb is on here today or not, but there are some people who don't even get the option of leaving. They are the boss. They are at the head of the table. They are the ones who, when the clients get wined and dined, the client is going to be with you. I used to work for that, and so sometimes I gotta really take this into account. I gotta be okay. I gotta be on firm. Do I have a good reason? And then here's the other test. It says, Ralph, don't think of what you're gonna get out of it. What can you bring to the occasion? What can you bring to it? And so that's those. So those are the markers, you guys, for legitimate reason, which bounces me back to fit spiritual condition. They all go together. I'm going to give you a real quick story to illustrate, because sometimes it seems vague when they say, am I trying to steal a little vicarious pleasure from these places? I was fairly new. So right there, you guys know I wasn't in fit spiritual condition. I was fairly new. And I was coming to my mom's house, and this is the first time I tried to get sober, and I didn't stay sober. And came to mom's house, and all my brothers were sitting around drinking Michelob's and smoking weed. And I remember sitting up, rolling joints for them while they were smoking. And I liked new friends. This is what it means about stealing vicarious pleasure. I didn't get loaded, but I liked being in the presence when they transformed. I like seeing that feeling, it's kind of calm and it's cool. And then the energy ramps up and you see them transform, and they got the talking louder and they slam the bones harder. And I liked transforming without getting loaded with them. And I remember going back to my aftercare, and I told the counselor I was with my brothers and they got loaded and I didn't. I'm getting stronger. And you guys, especially our new friends, I didn't know I was getting closer. I was stealing what they call vicarious pleasure. That's not a word that's in my book. Okay, third party getting loaded. I'm getting loaded in proximity. I'm calling it, you might call contact high, and even if it ain't a contact, but you get the drift of it. I'm getting low. I like being, because what it is, for a lot of people like us, and we don't talk about it as much, I was as addicted to the lifestyle as I was to the drugs and alcohol. I liked being in the life. And so that's the thing about vicarious. I wanted one foot in. I wanted to be sober, but I wanted to still hang with them. That's the stealing vicarious pleasure that they're talking about. And that's not a legitimate reason for going around to any of these places. I want to sit at the bar and watch them transform. Or on the other hand, there's something else I do too. Read, Reader.
Why sit with a long face in places where there's drinking, sighing about the good old days? If it's a happy occasion, try to increase the pleasure of those there. If a business occasion, go and attend to your business enthusiastically. If you're with a person who wants to eat in a bar, by all means go along. Let your friends know they are not to change their habits on your account. At a proper time and place, explain to all your friends why alcohol disagrees with you. If you do this thoroughly, few people will ask you to drink. While you were drinking, you were withdrawing from life little by little. Now, you're getting back into the social life of this world. Don't start to withdraw again just because your friends drink liquor.
Okay, Rooster.
This is a wonderful paragraph. You know, earlier in the book, we describe ourselves as not being a glum lot. And when I got sober and was sure of my sobriety and my health, I would go out with my friends and have fun. And they would often ask me, they said, hey, don't you want a drink? I said, I have a drink. I'm drinking iced tea. They said, well, do you got alcohol in that? And I said, no, I'm allergic to it. And then they asked me, well, what do you mean by allergic? I said, well, I break out. They said, oh, really? You break out in a rash or something? I said, no, I break out in the back of police cars, psychiatric wards, and emergency rooms. Oh, you're one of those. And from that point forward, there was no more pressure. Not that there was any pressure to begin with, but you know, we have to maintain some social ability without the use of alcohol or any other mind-altering substances. Otherwise, we lock ourselves into a social cabinet and get lost. Our personalities go dull, and people don't want to be around us anymore. So this, for me, was really important at about 6 months to stay in connection with folks, and not necessarily for that I'm going to experience a contact high, but just to be able to maintain that social availability and not knock everybody off. Now, on the other hand, if someone was drinking or using any kind of substance with the sole intent and purpose of getting stupid, I would leave and find myself another place to go. Thank you.
No hands after Nicole, and we got a lot of hands and we got to get through it. So everybody sharing, let's keep that in mind, and let's get right to the point with our sharing. Gloria.
Good morning, everybody. You know, one of the things is it says, why sit with a long face? And then I remember the story with where Dr. Bob said he had it with him, the feeling with him almost all the time. He said, and then, he was like mad about it. He said, and then it dawned on him, he had abused his privileges. So why would he, he said, well, why am I, he says, but I schooled myself to believe that though I had once had the same privilege, I had abused it so frightfully that it was withdrawn from me. And that's what happened for me. I had abused my privileges so bad that I realized that just to be able to be with people as a result of these programs and of this program and the steps, I was okay. So I was able to go someplace, right? But understand, if you are not, it is all right that you don't have to go, right? You don't have to go. And one of the things is when I got here, I resigned to the fact, I was resigned to the fact that I had abused my privileges, Ralph, and that enough was enough, and I was going to be free. And that's what happened for me. So thanks.
Ruth?
Sorry about that. Ruth, alcoholic. Thanks, Ralph and Ronnie. So sit with a long face. I love dancing, and then, alcohol stopped being fun. I wasn't dancing, but when I got sober, there was like a crew of us, and we went to the club. And I wasn't that, I didn't have that much time, but I was with them. And we had a blast, but somebody came up to me that I was seeing when I was hitting it hard, and was like, I was looking better, how we do, we're feeling good. And she said something to me like, you want to hang out later or something? And I could tell you why. If I wasn't with my friends, my sober friends, man, I don't know. That could not turned out so, because I'm not far from cured. But I knew I was with my little pack, and we were together, and I felt safe. Also, another thing is I like my seltzer and lime up on the bar, and I go back, I'm sweating, go back dancing, go to guzzle that, and it's gin and tonic. So now I would mark my cup, or carry it with me, because all these little things, to just be cautious. Thanks for letting me share.
Mary.
I'm Mary. I'm an alcoholic, And a really important word in that paragraph is friends. This is the kind of situation that really tells you who your friends are. If someone is trying to, well, you know, this is just 3.2 beer, you know, that's not a friend. On the other hand, the friends are the ones who you know will support you. It's really an acid test for friendship, and we really learn who we can trust. But it's one of the gifts of the program, to be able to retain those true friends and go places with them, be with them, enjoy them, feel totally comfortable, because you just say, I don't need anything except a glass of water, and know that nobody is going to try and play games with you. Thank you all so much for being here today.
Mary. Isaac?
My name is Isaac, and I'm an alcoholic. Why sit with a long face, sign about the good old days? That reminded me of my first Thanksgiving. I got sober September 3rd, and I knew I had to be in treatment for 90 days. And I was like, what am I going to do on Thanksgiving? You know, Thanksgiving, you know, we all sit around and eat, and then, you know, like cousins and brothers and everybody that is that likes to get loaded goes to the garage. And, you know, old folks are in the house cleaning up, and we're in the garage turning up. And I was like, what am I going to do? And my sponsor said, go see what you can, go be of service. See what you can give to Thanksgiving. He said, go there, and while everybody goes to the garage, go clean up. Take out the trash, wash the dishes, and then when that's done, leave. And it felt weird. I felt like I was missing something. But I tell you one thing, it worked. I was able to stay sober that Thanksgiving, and even still today, you know, I still do that with Thanksgiving. And I had a party at my house yesterday for my daughter's birthday, and, you know, folks drinking, and I'm there dumping trash, cleaning up, cutting cake, you know, blowing bubbles with kids, and it doesn't bother me today, because I know I'm not missing anything. Like a member said, you know, I've abused the luxury to consume alcohol. I've abused it, thinking I was having a good time. So today I know, you know, be of service. Service always works. Thank you.
Excellent example in real time. Thank you, sir. Nicole?
Hi, family. Nicole, alcoholic. Thank you to everybody that's in service, and thanks for the meeting. Just before getting on this meeting, I was sitting out in the garden with my roommates and invited me to have a barbecue with them. And they were all drinking beer, and they offered it to me, and I just said, no thanks, I don't drink, and there's just no issue. I just celebrated a year last week, and it said, while you were drinking, you were withdrawing from life little by little. Yeah, at the end of my drinking, I wasn't going to clubs, I wasn't hanging out with people and drinking. I was staying in my house drinking and drugging by myself. And when I first got sober, the grocery store was a scary place for me to go. You know, I couldn't even go into a gas station. I didn't want to go in by myself because I was so terrified of it. And now it didn't even occur to me. You know, and I can tell the difference because 3 months ago, you know, I wasn't in the triangle. I was living with untreated alcoholism, and I was in sobriety. And I could not walk by a bar where people were hanging out and, you know, drinking and music and everything. But now I get to attend a barbecue with my roommates and just say, no, I don't drink. And there's no question behind it. And it's just, then I say I have to leave. They don't know I'm in AA. They don't know anything about me. I just met them a month ago, you know, but they don't need to know. You know, I just do my thing, eat some barbecue, come inside, get on a meeting. And I owe that to this program of Alcoholics Anonymous. So thank you for letting me share.
Ralph, I want to jump in there. Thank you, Nicole. Mary said something that struck me, and I really want to make sure that our friends at Alaska and God's property and what have hear us, because sometimes when you read this, it seems so inconsistent with some of the stuff that we read. Because one of the lines said, if your friend wants to go into a bar to eat, join them and do whatever and it's really, and I never can I can't separate any of these paragraphs, because the paragraphs before make it real clear that if I'm shaky, I can't, and I need to make sure that I'm spiritually fit before I do these things. They're not going to change. I can't expect them to change. I should not insist on them changing. I'm the one that needs to change. And I need to really be honest with myself. There's a reason we say, change your playmate, and sometimes, because it sounds inconsistent. But Mary said something about what real friends would be like. Well, a real friend, when Ebby came to visit Bill's unmindful of Ebby's welfare. Bill offered him a drink, even though Ebby was sober and he knew he was about to be committed for alcoholic insanity. Because for me, a real friend would offer me a drink. That's the kind of people that I hung out with. That all of my friends before, and a couple of them are sitting in this meeting right now, that just don't give me a joint, giving me a drink, offering me something, because that's what a real friend would do, would share with me, would not withhold. So I need to remember, it's not on them, that I need to make sure that I am spiritually fit. Otherwise, I don't need to be around them. Otherwise, because I'm the problem. They're not the problem. My alcoholism is the problem for me. And so for our new friends, there's a reason that I don't go around places until I'm spiritually fit. There's a reason why I don't go places until I did not go back to my hood for about a year before I went back, because I know me. And I need to make sure that I was spiritually fit to do that. I know some more hands came up down, and y'all got to wait till we read some more paragraphs before y'all raise y'all hands. Put y'all hands down.
No, we are definitely, and I apologize in advance, you guys. We're not belaboring, because we got to get through this whole chapter. And so we're not going to just rush and not do them justice. But we certainly are going to go back to belabor. Reader.
Your job now is to be at a place where you may be of maximum helpfulness to others. So never hesitate to go anywhere if you can be helpful. You should not hesitate to visit the most sordid spot on earth on such an errand. Keep on the firing line of life with these motives, and God will keep you unharmed.
Betsy?
Betsy Alcoholic. Thanks. I just had to raise my hand because I was just thinking right before, I don't know if it was Reggie that was speaking, because I have a place in Alaska. I basically, left Alaska. I went to Alaska to be spiritual and live in the bush, literally like haul water and split wood and be sober. And I ended up not, like, with an ex-con and not being sober at all. And the idea, like, the village is a dope store, like a pot store and a brewery, and it's so frightening. Like, this meeting is giving me some really good fear, because I've been back a couple times since I've been sober. I'm 4 years and 3 months sober, but and I usually go back around this time every year. And for some reason this year I'm like, ooh, I don't know, man. It's so, the whole thing, it's Alaska, man. Like, it takes, I don't know how many sober people there are there. Like, we'd have to do some statistics, especially out in the bush. But so yeah, and being of service too, like, I can do that. I can do that. There are some meetings that a friend of mine who got started up there, but it's, you know, it's, yeah, I don't know. I just want to say I'm grateful as someone who's new, you know, to get a little bit of, you know, second thinking in my mind about, you know, going back and
Thank you, Betsy.
That's it. Thanks.
I don't mean to be cutting people, but and no more hands after call, Denise. I'm trying to look at our time and I'm looking at what we have left. And I gotta ask you guys to get to your points and then let's get out. Okay. So Ryan, come on.
I am I'm a Skid Row junkie as they go when I get loaded. And I think that as sorted places go, that one, you know, certainly makes the tournament. And at about 9 months of sobriety, somebody asked me to go speak on a panel down at the Harbor Light when it was still open. And you know, I got to, before I decided to, you know, get a summer home down on Skid Row, I would have to take the bus to get down there first. And, you know, my alcoholic car had since died. And so I had to get on that same bus that I would take to get down there. I'd have to walk, you know, get off at that stop at Main and Fifth, and I'd walk down Fifth, the same walk that I used to have, and then get confronted with this choice, right? Do I turn right on San Julian and walk those sticky streets? Or do I make that, you know, keep going a little further, make that left-hand turn and go into the Harbor Light? And, you know, blessedly, it was to be of service, right? Like I had proper motives. And that was also the first time then that my friend James taught me about the principle of you get to the meeting and someone will get you home. The one other thing I just wanted to touch on was in that previous paragraph where it says, you know, that you should let your friends know at a proper time and place. You know, there were times that I felt like I wanted to fit in with the appropriate crowd or let folks know. And so, you know, sometimes it's cute that we will say that I break out in handcuffs or, you know, things start disappearing when I get loaded. That's generally not necessary for the general populace, because when I start doing that, you know, it's more than like I'm wearing a sign around my neck, like I fuck shit up, ask me about it, right? And then people are, you know, they want to know. And that can sometimes lead to some prodding that's uncomfortable or unnecessary. That's all I got. Thanks.
Okay, somebody in all Alaska. And again, remember, you guys, we got a lot of hands and we got to get out of here. So come on, all Alaska, whoever that is.
Hi, I'm John. I'm an alcoholic.
Come on, John.
I just got a year last week, but the whole year I've had has been in treatment, and I get an opportunity today to go out and be with my family for Mother's Day and all, and I'm looking forward to it. I know I'm going to get a lot of questions because all my family knows where I'm at, but I hope they don't try to hide everything from me, but I know there's going to be a lot of questions, and the whole time all I can do is be an example. And let them see, this is going to be the first fucking time ever they've ever seen me sober. So I'm just looking forward to that, and I'm ready, I think. But you know what they say, always have a backup plan.
Well, go see what you can bring to the occasion. Don't be looking at people counting their drinks.
Oh, no.
Don't be sitting up there, just, you know, don't do what some of us have done, John. Sit up now that I'm sober. Look at them showing that. Don't do that. Be a shining example. They may hide stuff from you. They may act like they don't trust you, okay? It's going to take a while. When we come back in a couple of weeks, we're going to ask you to give us a report on how it went today, all right?
All right.
Thank you, sir. Reggie?
Reggie White, alcoholic. I got couple of things. One, when it talks about, we'll go to the most sordid spot, right, if our motives are right. And see, I can lie to myself about my motives being right, even if I'm spiritually fit. I could be spiritually fit, but my motives can be wrong. I remember Ralph talked about, well, I've never gone in a crack house, but let me tell you, I did. I was sober, and I was never too early, and that was the time right before I made it back this last time. And I'm sneaking away, going to a prison to see my so-called girlfriend, and they got her into, matter of fact, she got out of some place, out of a rehab, and then she starts getting loaded, and then she called me to come rescue her out of a place. And so, what was that it says here about if your motives are right, you will go to the most sordid place if you want to help somebody? Well, it turned out what I was trying to do was help myself, not help her. And I went in there and I came back low, you know, and there's absolutely no reason, I don't care how much time I got, that I can go into a crack house to help somebody. And just to help our new friends. I didn't want to say this before because it was about a person I sponsored. But I remember she came out of her rehab. She had about the regular 3 months or whatever, and then 4, 5, 6 months. And now I want to get back with my friends. And why can't I go? And I'm like, why are you going to these bars? Well, that's where my friends are, and that's what my friends do. Okay, are you telling them that you're an alcoholic? Well, no, I'm not telling them that, but I'm drinking virgin drinks, and I'm drinking O'Doul's. And needless to say, eventually she came up getting loaded. And what I need to do is I can't go in there talking about I'm spiritually fit just because I go to some meetings and I'm working the steps, right? And I don't know, maybe just be really, really careful with stuff like
that. Okay, I got a short leash on you guys. Chris.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody. I'm Chris. I'm an alcoholic. Sober since July 29th, 81. Been here a while. Wow, sobered up. I live near New Orleans, Louisiana, and excuse me, spent a lot of time there. Every place, sorted place there. I mean, hell, they were drinking in church. I mean, just saying, you know, it's like I didn't even know what a liquor store was for a long time because in our area they didn't have it. You just get it anywhere. And I'm a musician. One of my things, my first love, I started playing when I was 10 in public. And guess what came along with that? You know, drinking was just, I started drinking with it and loved to play music. Fortunately, when I sobered up, I was playing in church at this point. That was good. They weren't drinking in that thing. And but I've played in many rock bands, different things since. And after a year or so, I finally could go. I would I just went to AA and did the deal, thank God. But got a connection with God to the point where in my fellowship here that I didn't have to. So I could go places and where they were doing it. And I was just a drummer. I went there to play music and that's what I did. I don't like seeing people drink like I did. When they start to have fun, it's fine. I like that. When they get crazy, I don't like it. You know, it's just, and that's good. Anyway, love y'all. Great meeting. Thanks.
Okay, I'm going to put you guys on hold, especially you, Isaac Double Dipper. Denise and Marilyn, you guys going to have to wait and read reader.
Many of us keep liquor in our homes. We often need it to carry green recruits through a severe hangover. Some of us still serve it to our friends, provided they are not alcoholic. But some of us think we should not serve liquor to anyone. We never argue this question. We feel that each family, in the light of their own circumstances, ought to decide for themselves.
Okay. These hands that are up, I'm going to take these hands. Isaac, you're going to be on a really short leash. And then we're going to read out. So no more hands right now. Marilyn?
Hi, my name is Marilyn. I'm an alcoholic. And my sobriety date is 1996. And I just want to say for the newcomers, just feel you gotta go with your feelings too. You know, you gotta know where you are, what you're doing, and if you're feeling uncomfortable, it is not good. You know, I usually, when I first came in, went with a lot of I was a newcomer, and I went with a lot of people, places. You know, like people who had strong sobriety and stuff. I was on a fishing boat the other day, and there's no way out, and they were doing pot. You know, they were smoking a lot of pot, and that happens these days. But thank God for the air, and thank God for, you know, I was at one end and they were at the other. It didn't bother me. Things are gonna bother you. Things aren't gonna bother you. You just have to go with your, you know, your sobriety, how much time you got, and, you know, feeling uncomfortable or comfortable, you know. Thanks for letting me share.
Denise?
Hi, everybody. Denise, alcoholic. Reggie said, he took the words right out of my mouth, but I would go visit my mom in New Jersey when I first got sober, right? And Mama was so happy that I was a part of AA, and my sister was still out there in the crack house. The whole building was the crack house. And Mama wanted me to go rescue my sister. And I ran over there to the crack building to rescue my sister, talking about how she should come to AA. Go to a program. Those crackheads chased me out the building. They ain't want to hear that, you know, and every time I see this, it reminds me of that. Because they could have got me drunk before I got them sober. I was not spiritually fit. And also the second, this here paragraph we just read, I'm one of those, I don't keep alcohol in my house, and that's just for me. I had my daughter's wedding in my backyard. I wasn't buying no booze. This is a sober house. And thank you for letting me share. I know I rushed through that, but yeah.
That's all right, Jim. We appreciate you. Al?
Alcoholic fastest share in the West. So I went downtown to Skid Row to tell my story as a newcomer. That 10-minute pitch on a panel, I was worried about coming out and seeing my nice Mercury Sable up on blocks, and the car survived, and so did I, and I didn't get drunk or high, and nobody ran up to me and gave me any free crack either. And then I used to keep booze in my house in case I had to entertain as a newcomer, and that worked out for a while until some newcomer crashed in the guest room, and he decided to take all the sake, the vodka, and my VCR. Boy, was I forlorn. I forget that not everybody should be left alone with booze in my house. Thanks for letting me share.
Isaac, we're gonna put you on hold till we finish this next one, and but you got room. We are not done reading. So a couple of things. What's my job now? Be a maximum usefulness. We have heard that theme now several times, you know, and talked about, you know, in the 7-step prayer, it talked about my usefulness to others, you know, and you take away all the defects that stand in the way of my usefulness. In the 9th step, it talked about, you know, our real purpose is to fit ourselves to be of maximum service. Now here in the 12th step, it says, my job now is to be in the place where I can be of maximum helpfulness to others. So don't hesitate to go where I can be helpful. That is real. So now I got another charge as a result of this, these 12 steps, you know, so stay on the firing line with these motives, and God's got me. Last piece, and this is personal, and it's different for everybody. People keep liquor in their house. Some people say, like Denise said, it's a sober, your house. You pay the rent, you pay the bill, you pay the note, your house. You decide. You know, it's people on here that keep liquor in their house. It's people on here that are married and their spouses drink. There's people on here who have kids living and they drink, you know, so, but that's personal. Okay. So we don't have, and that is a wonderful gift of recovery. What we learn is it goes back into this other paragraph. While I was drinking, I was withdrawing. So that's one of the big promises. I'm rejoining life. I'm coming back to life. I'm not going to have to be in this little, in this box that I thought recovery would look like. No, recovery is not shrinking life. It is, in fact, rejoining, not just rejoining and having a better life. So, Reader, I'm going to ask you to read us out of here.
You got it. We're careful never to show intolerance or hatred of drinking as an institution. Experience shows that such an attitude is not helpful to anyone. Every new alcoholic looks for this spirit among us and is immensely relieved when he finds we are not witch burners. A spirit of intolerance might repel alcoholics whose lives could have been saved had it not been for such stupidity. We would not even do the cause of temperate drinking any good, for not one drinker in 1,000 likes to be told anything about alcohol by one who hates it. Someday, we hope that Alcoholics Anonymous will help the public to a better realization of the gravity of the alcoholic problem. But we shall be of little use if our attitude is one of bitterness or hostility. Drinkers will not stand for it. After all, our problems were of our own making. Bottles were only a symbol. Besides, we've stopped fighting anybody or anything. We have to.
We got two gentlemen up here who've already, they double dipped it. If anybody wants to get in now, come on and get in. Peaches. I'm not disrespecting you two, but we got 300 and some people on here. So you guys, if we got any people, then come on, Peaches.
Peaches Alcoholic. I just wanted to say something real quick. And it was just that, I remember when I first started getting sober, and how happy I was and how good I felt after I'd done the steps a couple of times, and I got my mind clear, got my body cleared. Everything was all, good. I was in a really good space, and then all of a sudden I'm running around with a wand, and I want to make everybody sober. Here, you be sober. Here, you be sober. And then on top of that, I'm human. I have a tendency to be a little judgy. So, pushing my ideas on people is, it's just what we do. But I learned through these steps that I had to change my mindset and then just practice these principles and on my affairs to be able to just be what's that word? Be an example. Just be a big book, be the big book a person wants to see. And that's what I do today. So thanks.
Lila?
Hi everyone. I'm Lila. I'm an alcoholic. I love when it says that we don't look down on drinking as an institution. I'm married to another sober alcoholic. Between us, we have lots of years of sobriety, and we have 2 daughters that have been raised in sobriety. They've never seen us drunk, and I have one that's in high school. And I just wanted to point this out because not everyone, is an alcoholic. And I think sometimes, people in recovery, I'll say my husband, he can be very, think everyone is an alcoholic, and sort of put down anyone that's a normal drinker. And, having a daughter that's in high school, she's around other people's families. Not everyone, doesn't handle alcohol. And I think it can be off-putting if we're putting down drinking. Some people drink normally and enjoy alcohol. I relate to her all the time that she comes from a family of 2 alcoholics where almost no stone has been unturned with alcoholism, and she should be cautious about those genetics. But I think when he points out that everyone is an alcoholic, that it can be off-putting, I think that, alcoholism is the compulsion to drink, and not alcohol in general is bad. And anyways, that's what I got.
Thank you, Lila. Chris?
Hi, my name's Chris. I'm an addict. Thanks for the meeting. In my early days, I was doing a lot of DJing, playing in clubs for 6 months sober. And there's one place I was playing at, and I used to have people tap me on the shoulder, asking me if I can get any E, any pills, ecstasy tablets. And I knew who was doing what in there, so I'd be the middleman, and I'd sort the thing for them. But I had to graft myself up about that because my thinking was just because those people who are asking me might not have followed it, doesn't mean I need to be involved in that transaction. Because before you know it, I might cut out the main guy and become the main guy rather than being the middleman. When I told my sponsor, he looked at me like he wanted to slap me. But yeah, it's that spiritually fit kind of, that's what I relate that to. But it's early days as well, I'm trying to find my way. But yeah, just wanted to contribute. Thank you.
Cindy?
Alpha alcoholic to the White Brothers. Alcoholic, my name is Cindy. I came from my drinking and I stayed from my thinking. And I'm actually talking to two people. I'm talking to the new people and I'm talking to the people with long term. Because my experience tells me on the 12th step, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. As a result of these steps, I am now spiritually fit and I am under the armor of God. I am spiritually fit, not personally fit, not Cindy fit. In the beginning, I couldn't do any of this. But at this point, I am under the protective armor of God, and He's my employer. And on 77, I know what my purpose is. This is my job description. And so it tells me I'm placed in a position of neutrality. There's no way when I'm 20 minutes sober and I'm operating under self and Cindy that I'm going to be able to do any of the things that I've been able to do after 40 years. Thank God. Mm-hmm. Thank God. So we go through this work so that I can be an effective 12th step to somebody's first step. So far they haven't had me, go into a crack house or go into a strip joint where I'm watching the guys, in there. But if that's where God wanted me to go, that's where I'm going to go. Because I'm on the protective armor of God today. Thanks, I'll be back.
Carla, where'd you go? Carla, your hand has been up and down and up and down.
Yeah, I was going through something. I'm trying to text, I'm multitasking, I'm working at the same time. But I did want to share about this. One good thing for me is that most of my friends that I used with are in another state. So normally when I go home to Indiana, I'm with those same friends and they're doing the exact same thing that they were doing when I left 24 years ago. But the beauty of it is I am the big book that they get to see. And they treat me the same way. They do their thing. I mean, they smoke their bud, they drink, it's a party because Carla's home. You know what I'm saying? And for some reason for me, it's like I enjoy being around them, but only for a little bit. I do them in bits and pieces. I leave and go and be with family. I go and be with sober friends. But those people are still having a hell of a hard life doing these drugs and these alcohols and all this stuff that they do. And I think I'm that book. They call me and ask me for my advice. They call me and ask me, about treatment. I've spent hours on the phone with my friends trying to get them sober, but not trying to judge them, because I'll never judge. I can't judge. But I can love them in spite of what they do. Somebody loved me. So it's really hard when I hear people say, oh, you got to have different playmates and play things. I don't have that option. These people are in my life forever. But I get to be different. And that's what I love about Alcoholics Anonymous and this program and learning something new every day, learning something new about myself every day, is I get a daily reprieve from this. So I don't know what to say, Ralph. When you said that you haven't found it necessary to be in a crack house, neither have I. I don't think I can pull that off. I'm not even gonna lie. But the other thing is I don't want to go in a crack house. You know what I'm saying? I have no desire to sit and watch somebody smoke crack. I work in Hollywood. I'm around drugs and alcohol all the time. But it's just not a desire for me. So thank you guys for letting me share.
And that's a measure of spiritual fitness. And thank you, Carla, for putting the face on the paragraph, because Carla talked about now being in a place, her job is to be a maximum service. And that job places me and for her, the sordid spots are just being around her people and not showing, because somebody might have said, what does it mean that we don't show intolerance or hatred of drinking as an institution? And what Carla just shared about is, just because I can't get loaded don't mean that I'm saying something wrong with you is bad. You know that's the devil is dope. No, we don't do that. And Carla just gave us really what this paragraph is talking about. Ain't nobody trying to hear from me if I'm one of these people that's coming in there telling them you sinning, you this, you that, no, and finger pointing. No, I just, as many of you guys have said, I forfeited my right. But it ain't nothing. You ain't bad because you doing this. I can't. I'm forfeited my right. You guys, we are out of here. Thank you for a wonderful journey through the 12 steps.